Hey, Chris Liepe here with special guest Lauren Babic, and we're going to find out how you found your grit, and as a result, you can find your grit.
These weathered hands are jaded. The cracks in the bombs tell stories of blood. Nothing can stand in my way. You will be.
Now, before you try any of this, make sure that you are good and warmed up. So, click the link in the description to my free course called How to Awaken Your Inner Monster, and that's going to help you warm up for this.
How did you initially stumble upon, because that's really what this is all about, how did you initially stumble upon singing with grit or distortion?
It was pretty much in the music I listened to when I was a teenager. So like Linkin Park, The Used, My Chemical Romance. And it's this sort of reckless abandon of singing rock and roll and being just a badass.
Pushing yourself slightly beyond your limits, but knowing how to live slightly beyond your limits, right?
But doing that in a healthy way so you can make it sustainable.
Right. Because I think a lot of people who oh yeah, I just push myself till we're not talking about pushing yourself in terms of volume or intensity even. We're talking about pushing yourself how?
We're going to try and find your chest voice pitch ceiling where your voice breaks.
So where you want to naturally break up into your head voice, la 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 la, where you start to do that, right?
Exactly. It's not going to be pretty, but we want to get you feeling that sensation so that you're not scared. So we're going up and we're trying to find, where does your voice break? Yeah!
You can't just have rasp or grit on one note, right? If you're going up to this one area, okay, well, fine, I can do distortion on that note, but how do you transition from that to being able to use it around different parts of your range?
I think it's getting comfortable with the sensation first, because often we get very afraid and we tend to hesitate the moment our voice starts to break.
Yeah.
And we think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do something or hurt myself.
Yeah, or it doesn't sound right.
Right. So we tend to get very critical, and when we hesitate, that sometimes affects the airflow.
And keeps us from discovering what we want to discover.
Right.
So find the sensation first, and then once we can really lean into that in that one particular area of our voice, then start moving it around.
Right.
Okay.
And I wouldn't start increasing any sort of volume, because when we think I need to be loud, that's when we're going to overexert.
So once you find that little area, rather than thinking be louder, think hold back air.
Yes, and it sounds contradictory.
Yeah.
Like, oh, grit means I need to be loud and powerful and just scream my heart out. But it's actually the opposite. We are controlling the air and almost building up a pressure at the back.
So sing that section of Empire, do it without the grit, and then show us the sort of exposed breaking of the dialing it in, and then show us the tightening it up. Because that's in one, where you add that grit, that's in one particular area of your voice. So it's a really good way to practice this particular thing.
And I think it's the easiest for me because
It's
lives
right there at that break.
right at the breaking point of my chest voice ceiling. These weathered hands are jaded.
Yeah, you're almost exposing it or exaggerating the break before you lean in and try to tighten it up.
These weathered hands are jaded. You want to play in that little glottal area?
I'm going to lower it. These weathered hands are jaded. 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 These weathered hands are jaded.
And I like how you're manipulating your airflow too, and as the notes come down, you're backing off.
Sure.
So that's good for dynamics as well.
Not locked into one one thing. It's not like every note has to be the same grit. And I think that's almost a side effect of like, I'm not really going to break in this area. I mean, I can try, but and there's other ways you can access distortion in those lower notes, but this particular method works really well when you have that sort of lift into a melody. So great. Thanks for the examples. It's fantastic seeing another voice and a female voice do that same approach. One of the questions I get a lot is, can females do this sort of thing? And I mean, yes. And not only can they do that, but this is your primary method for that not so strained, natural sounding distortion.
And so often, even as a female, we are so scared to get out of our clean voice because often maybe in high school you were in choir and you were taught a specific way and vocal course coaches and teachers maybe told you this is bad, 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 bad.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get you out of that fear because it's getting out of your headspace so that you can sort of grit up your voice a little bit.
Embrace the ugliness and the weirdness. Lean into these sensations and pay attention to your body. And if you'd like to go deeper with Lauren's approach, click that link below and join the free warm-ups course. Get your voice good and warmed up to try this stuff and learn a few more things about how to approach harsh and aggressive singing.